What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So, here's one habit that will not only help you improve your metabolism, which will help you burn more calories, which will help you divert your body's energy that spends so much time digesting food to allowing your body to utilize that energy for the many, many other things that you could be using it for, whether it's exercise, a creative outlet, spending time with friends and family, or just doing your everyday activities in a more productive way. It's also a habit that, when understood properly, will help you foster and strengthen your capacity to be grateful on a day-to-day basis. Something that is incredibly, it gets somewhat overstated sometimes, and I believe that we should think about these terms in its most practical form, because when you think about it in its most practical form, you're thinking about what it is it's going to contribute to your life. And then from there, you could expand it and think about how it extends to everything else. And what I'm speaking about in this case is gratitude. And that one act is just mindful eating. If you could practice eating mindfully, it'll have a tremendous impact on these couple areas of your life. And you do it in very actionable steps. The first is something that I believe I hear a lot more as an Eastern health practice than I would say a Western health practice, but I do see it frequently enough. I do see quite a few authors that will mention this who are Western. I'll also see it referenced in some pretty, I would say, mainstream blogs, but we always want to make sure that we're chewing our food as thoroughly as possible. I know this sounds a little condescending, right? Because this may be the type of advice that a parent will give to their child. Make sure you're chewing that 100%, but we neglect it so easily. I myself, who tries to be conscious of this, still forgets and still needs that reinforcement of getting the information from some other source or running into it and remembering I need to make sure that this is something that is being implemented as much as possible. We always want to essentially chew our food till it's almost a liquid form. When we chew our food to this level, then we're sparing our body so much extra energy expenditure that it has to use to break down that food once it's in your stomach. So if you can do the work for your stomach, essentially, by chewing your food thoroughly, by chewing it till it's in that essentially almost liquidated form, then your body is going to be able to metabolize this food a lot quicker. And again, when you're able to metabolize your food a lot quicker, then you're able to move on with so many of the other endeavors that you may want to pursue. When our body is metabolizing, it's almost like sex. You have that orgasm and you are completely incapacitated, right? It's the thing you see in the movies where the guy, has that eruption and then he falls over and he's essentially dead, and the woman's looking at him like, what's going on? We have that same feeling, right? We have food comas. That's a common expression. We get these food comas because we eat so much. We don't effectively chew our food, so our body is breaking down these larger chunks of food, and when it does that, we're essentially to some form useless. We've gotten so used to functioning in this state that we're not entirely useless. Like we're getting up and we're working and we're trying our best and we're doing these things, but we're almost in some form of drunkenness the way that we learn to operate like that, because really our body wishes that it could just be laid out and allowing itself to work through this process so we could get our energy back and do what we got to do. So let's be mindful of that understanding of just how we operate. That way we can have these tools that'll help us function in a way that could hopefully be optimal for how we need to be in our everyday activities. So again, it seems so simplistic in some ways, but remember, chewing your food is going to improve your metabolism. Improving your metabolism is going to help you with your weight loss goals. It's going to help you with your health goals. It's going to help you with your everyday endeavors. So it's extremely important. And when you're using this process of eating mindfully, it's just being conscious of what we're doing while we're eating. It's so easy to just consume thoughtlessly while we're watching TV, while we're looking at our phone, while we're talking to another person, that the last thing that's going on in our mind is actually chewing our food. So just tell yourself, I'm eating. Bring your attention to the idea that you're eating and making sure that you're chewing your food thoroughly with that awareness, by shining that light of awareness on the activity that you're doing. And it's just going to help you be more thoughtful of it. I think this is what I was saying with the idea of needing additional reinforcements, because I forget to be in tune. I'm paying attention to a million other different things, and it's just that lack of attention that allows you to skip that simple process. The second important thing, like I said, that comes with eating mindfully is fostering a sense of gratitude for something that seems very simple and easy. I think the lower the barrier for what we're choosing to be grateful for, the easier it is to be grateful for everything. What I mean by that is, if you ask somebody to list off what they're grateful for, you may hear the more standard, obviously hugely important things to somebody's life. They'll say their family, their career, their health, and there's no way you could dismiss that. Having gratitude for that is just as important as having gratitude for everything else. But I find that when you could keep walking it back, the further you could walk it back, the easier it is to understand how to enhance your gratitude. It's like going back and lifting small weights so you can gauge the smaller muscles in your body so that they can do the heavier lift, so that everything can work together. So when you could wake up and say, I'm grateful to be laying down in a bed. I'm grateful to have air conditioning. I'm grateful to get out of my bed and have the able body to do so, and to plant my feet on a wooden floor or whatever it is that you have. When you start very small, it makes everything else seem that much easier. And mindful eating is essentially encompassing those same practices no matter what it is that you're eating. If you're eating a grape, you could think about the farmer that may have, harvested the grapes. You could think of the rain that allowed the grapes to grow, the soil that allowed the grapes to grow, the transportation that got that grape to your grocery store, the grocery store that provided the structure where you have access to so much amazing food. There's food deserts everywhere. There's so many different places that doesn't have the same access to the same foods that you have. The vehicle that got you to the store, the job that got you the vehicle that got you to the store, the spouse that was kind enough to wash the grapes and get it ready for you so that it was available for you to eat right away. So you can see, obviously I could go on and on and on and on, and I don't do that for the case of trying to exaggerate the point. Again, it goes down to just stripping it to all its little elements in order to enhance your ability to be grateful, right? And when times get hard or you feel dissatisfaction, the more you can lean on these smaller elements of gratitude, the easier it is for you to function. because we're going to be dealing with suffering on a consistent basis, the more that we could use the counterweight of gratitude when suffering gets inflated or when there's some specific incident that arises, I think the better and easier it is for us to move forward in a way that's positive, in a way where we could still be constructive. So bring that same awareness that we could be bringing to the process of eating, right? Chewing our food. Bring that same level of awareness to understanding the miracle elements behind just getting that food to your plate. And you'll see how everything is connected. You'll expand, like the Dalai Lama says, your circle of love, because so many elements went into this one thing. But if we're not conscious of it, it's just like everything else. We're consuming without understanding. So that is it for this one. I really have a lot of appreciation for the philosophy of mindful eating. It's something I try to incorporate as much as I can. I tend to eat every day, so it gives me plenty of opportunity to practice. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you have a comment, would appreciate hearing your comment below or your opinion, and I'll talk to you next time.